I need like a minute for it to go live.
Yeah.
Okay, the mothership is about ready to land. Are you good?
Yes.
Not yet. We're good.
We are good.
Let's do it. Tee it off.
All right, today is Monday, August 19th, 2024. This is our third bargaining session between PEA and Polk County Public Schools. And we are live and ready to go. All right. So we have.
I think we have feedback.
So they
Maybe
have to
they're-
mute their speaker on your computer. Oh,
Is that better? I think that's better. Okay. All right, perfect. Nope.
Testing.
Is that better? All right, I think that's better. All right. All right, so there's a few things back and forth over the last two bargaining sessions. And so on August 1st, Polk County Public Schools had brought a counter for salaries back to the PEA original proposal on June 26th. The PEA original proposal, just in summary, was 3 to 12%, which addressed decompression fully in the teacher schedule. It still is working toward decompression in the support staff schedules. It's probably going to take another little bit because they were more compressed than the teacher schedule was. But 3 to 12% based on where your pay level was. On August 1st, the district came back with a counter of 4% across the board, which was around $20 million. While, and I'm summarizing this, while the district's not opposed to looking at compression, the original, the proposal did not factor in compression at that point. And so we've had pretty robust discussion among our team. And so at this point, PEA is rejecting the 4% proposal until we can get your AFR, the annual financial report that should be coming out in the next 2 weeks. The board meeting is scheduled for September 3rd. Which is the budget meeting. And so once we get that, those 3 spreadsheets that we get every year that really breaks down your AFR, and then we'll bring a counter to the 4%. So at that point, I'm going to volley it back over to Mr. Warren, and I think we're going to talk about teacher Article 15.
Yeah, so I'm gonna hold where you are on your opening remarks. So when there is no proposal, I want to just clarify what I understand is there's no proposal coming back across beyond what your original proposal was at the 3 to 12% at the 40 something odd whatever million dollars.
Yes.
And so I would take that to mean that we would be done bargaining until you've said you don't have anything to offer us until September. What was the date?
September 3rd is when you guys have your board
I
meeting.
agree.
And then we usually get the annual financial report within that week. Is when either Ms. Jenkins or Mr. Fout has sent that over to us.
Okay.
And so our team wants to hold to our proposal until we can get that official annual financial report.
Okay. So then we'll focus today on just a few outstanding language pieces, perhaps that we can discuss, and then we'll go back to where you started us with the rejecting the 4% until the AFR. The next piece I wanted to begin with is teacher Article 15. That was the piece that we've been talking about several times back and forth with respect to TEAC. TEAC had presented an original proposal. There was discussion that occurred at the table. Union volleyed back another proposal. We volleyed back a proposal. And then it was when I kind of just began to slow down and say, oh, let's look at all these different things we're putting in. and go back to the original discussion that TIAC reviewed and what they had been commissioned to do. I wanted to take a minute and first say my discussion tonight for the Article 15, the TIAC proposal is I would like to present that we go back to the original proposal from TIAC. And I've got Jennifer Rouse here to assist with any questions, but I'm going to unpack a couple reasons as to why it might help us get there. And I'm bringing us back to the original ground zero after we kind of put all these different iterations in there, because I think to bring us back to where we started, it might be the best place for us to be. So we first saw, for example, in Article 15.10-1, we added a change in position teaching assignment after the second semester SAO deadline is closed. When we went back and looked at this in detail, that line's not going to be necessary. When a teacher has a change of position or teaching assignment after the second semester, the SAO deadline is closed. The principal or AP uses the SAO decision tree to resolve the SAO to an effective rating due to the position or teaching assignment change. So the question of why would a teacher appeal this default to effective for their SAO, we wouldn't need it. We would recommend just removing that for those reasons. There's already a decision tree and a process for that in that regard. And I think what I should do is let's just take this piece by piece rather than whole and work our way through. Because then if there's questions for me or Jennifer, we can engage item by item. So I'll pause for a minute there and see if there's any questions.
No, and I know when we had first presented the joint recommendation, you know, very typical to how we always do. Mr. Hyde at that point had questions and didn't like the joint language, and he had tasked us to kind of look at it again. So our team did, knowing that in the summer TIAC doesn't meet. And so then it became a bargaining issue. Our team looked at it and proposed a counter to that language. Because really the goal that TIAC worked on this year and what our members are wanting is that when they are defaulted to effective, when it affects their overall evaluation and makes it effective, where if they would have been able to resolve their SAO to no fault of their own, they could have had a highly effective overall evaluation. And so that was the crux of the issue that we were bringing to TIAC that we had talked through. And we had very good discussions with principals, regionals, and our folks surrounding that. And we just want to resolve that part to make sure that in the event that something happens that's outside of the teacher's I'm losing my word here, that's out of their control, that they're not penalized for it by just getting a default effective.
Okay.
And so we felt that the TIAC language that we had jointly presented did that.
Okay.
So we would be agreeable to accepting the original TIAC language.
So we can carte blanche and let me go through all the.
No, I don't think we need to.
All right, Jennifer, we're good. Then what we're going to do then is let's go ahead then and talk about the items that we'll send across for tentative agreement then based on the original TIAC recommendation. And I know when Eva and I were prepping for us being here, I believe the article you're going to see come across, we'll see all of the iterations between parties.
That's what
and
we
then
have.
with the final of the original, I believe, to bring us back to the original.
And the original is highlighted?
Correct.
Okay.
So with that being said, we'll pause for a moment and go ahead and do signatory for a tentative agreement on Article 15 TIAC.
Okay. I can prepare my side if you guys want to start signing your side.
Right. 819 about every page. Just the
I
first.
do.
You do. Every
Yeah.
All right.
It's just a habit though. If you guys didn't, I think I did it on the last one for you. But I don't write like full tentative agreement. each time.
Oh, and I am. It's just a habit I'm in.
Yeah.
Well, this may take more than a minute.
That's okay. Yeah, this one's a long article.
Pretty legible.
Yes. Ugly.
Mhm.
Page 15.
I'm glad I don't have to write tentative agreement all over that other one too.
No, I already did it.
You know, so I'm glad I only have
You
to.
only have to do it once.
Too bad you're not a lefty, Jason, then you could both sign at the same
Yeah.
time.
Well, they need to sign. While they're signing, JD, when will the three projects be ready to go? To be sent over? Okay,
It'll be ready that week because we had to submit it to the state.
okay, all right, I'll check back.
I wouldn't think any.
Okay, all right, I'll check back toward the end of next week. Thank you. Oh, and Jason's still. Cat still too, never mind.
Signed that back in the day.
What?
I signed all of them, I didn't date them.
Oh, I see. Would have dated it. At least we don't have to have everybody sign it.
Listen. It was forever. Well,
Could have gone to Culver's and got a milkshake.
yeah, and then you get lost, what people would go away from the table and they wouldn't sign.
Right? You'd be like, "Ah." All right, we'll keep this one, and then when Jason's in, you guys can keep that one.
All right, the next item we would like to discuss is ESP Article 15.22. So I have a copy for her to look at. This is, I believe, a pretty simple one because we had a pretty extensive discussion, I believe, the last time we were at the table.
Mhm.
With respect to the language, it's specifically, we're looking at the language on page 506, which brings over the language from the para contract and brings it over to the ESP contract for other degree program and education program as well. We were clear in there, as we discussed last time, that the evaluation of applicability for education degree program or degree related to the position would be housed with personnel with respect to what would be coming from that education degree program. And I think I relayed that my logic there would be every program should have a program of study with courses outlined that they're enrolled in or for the institution that they're at. And that would be the system that I would anticipate would go through.
And that's currently what we use for para evaluation already.
Correct. So that's where we are on this one.
All right, so it looks like we are ready to TA on ESP college credit supplements. We are very excited about this one. This one was near and dear to our heart. So we are over the moon that we are now going to offer our ESPs college credit supplement experience. We are so happy about this. Thank you. For making this, this is something that we all been really working for a long time. And so I know our secretaries have fought for this, and we are over the moon for the fight that they just won, for their education experience. Yeah, this one's a little bit shorter. Yes. Yep. Jason's finishing up there, so then we'll bring it over here. Yeah. We can keep that one.
So you got one?
Yeah, we have our copy. Yep.
I think the next one was Appendix B, Student Services. I think even I may have had a miscommunication on her part, but perhaps I proposed what we were going to do in the times for the 24, 25, 25, 26.
Mhm.
So I think we were waiting on something to come back from you.
I gotcha.
So I don't have clean copies, but I think if we were in agreement to
Mhm.
what we had talked about last time at the table, we have an agreement on Appendix B. And all that was for 24, 25, it was going to be a stipend of $2,500 for the counselors and the others.
Mhm.
And then the 25, 26 school year would be a new
We would
salary
add it.
schedule like Dean's as the
Yep.
model.
So to explain, what PEA had originally proposed on June 26th with services was our school counselors get a supplement of $2,500. And so we were wanting to add that into the student services pay schedule, so it could be part of their base pay. And what the district countered on August 1st was that for this year, 24, 25, since we're in the middle of a fiscal year now, and what ended up happening with the dean schedule last year when we did it mid-year, moving that supplement into the base pay kind of messed things up. The district had proposed to do a $2,500 supplement for our speech language pathologists, our social workers, our mental health facilitators and counselors, who are, and obviously our school councils are already getting that supplement, but to give them the $2,500 supplement for this year and then add it into their base pay once we start a new fiscal year, so it doesn't mess anything up with taxes and hold back and all that kind of stuff. And so that was that essentially gets what we were looking for, just in a slightly different way this year. And so we would accept that for this year. And so I know we don't have anything physical to sign,
Yeah, we
Um,
picked a
but-
clean one.
but we accept that.
Okay, we'll have it ready to sign next time we
Okay.
come together. So that one's close. Oh, not close, it's there.
Okay.
All right. So the next thing that I would like to go to is the teacher article 21.2, para 7.2, and ESP 11.2. This is regarding the unpaid leave.
Yep.
Here's yours.
So with this one, I've got Linda that's here as well to assist with any questions, but I want to outline where we are with these proposals back and forth. I first am appreciative of the consideration for your language that you brought back to us with respect to adding the word consecutive and then within a school year or the following year, because I think you get the notion, you get you get the need. But the more I thought about this and I went back, and I'm going to give you the reasons why, I still don't believe consecutive gets us to where we need to be, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because what happens with my conversations I have with schools is this: I have somebody that may have returned from a leave in the fall, maybe they come back August, September, okay? They get started in their classroom, they dig in a little while, and then they go out on another leave, name whatever the leave is, let's say in the spring, they leave again in March. So what happens is at that school, I would have held your position for the 12 weeks the previous year, so I was 12 weeks out.
Mhm.
Then I'm into another school year where you came back and you're leaving again for another 12 weeks. I'm holding that position. It just adds, it adds.
Mhm.
And so that's why for me, I have a concern with the use of consecutive by that applicability. Because that's like 24 weeks of school for a single classroom that I've left somebody in there that's a sub when I kind of need to be going to the next thing. So that's why I'm proposing to go back to the discussion of removing consecutive and going back to the original language of should there be any combination of medical leave to personal leave or personal leave to medical within a school year or the following school year. That was the description of the example that I just talked about, how it walks across and through. The position will only be held for the initial 12-week period of the first approved leave. Because that allows me then, when they go out the second time, I don't have to have that classroom sit for another period of time. So, and let me look down to Linda and see if, do you have any other additional remarks to make in that regard?
No, I think we did, we discussed it and, I understood, and it made sense what we were talking about, the
Right.
concerns.
The other part that I like in the language is the employee may not return to work between approved consecutive unpaid leaves, because I thought about this while we were away from the table, because I didn't see the need for the 30 days to come
Mhm.
back. So they can connect them together, but I have the provision, I say but we don't hold it for 24 weeks between the two leaves. You get 12 and we're done.
So
So,
as an example, because I want to make sure that we're all fleshing this out, because I think we heard what you guys and brought, as a concern. Just logistically on the personnel side, and even the risk side. But just so if I'm out, let's say on a personal leave for whatever reason, and a personal leave,
Mhm.
and then I come back to work, and let's say I'm at work for 6 months, but then something happens medically where I'm out on an FMLA. Now, FMLA is federally
that's a
protected,
different
and so
discussion.
that's different. That would be if they've already, so let's say okay, so that's different. So if somebody's out on personal,
Yeah.
family, medical leave,
The
different, because
FMA
that's
will always
protected.
guarantee your 12 weeks period irrespective.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, so I'm just trying to think through any possible questions or considerations. So if I'm out on an FMLA, I'm federally protected for the 12 weeks, come back, and then, 5 months later, I have
Take
a personal issue come up. So you're saying that within that time, you've held it for the FMLA, something completely separate comes up. This would not let the position be held, even though they would have a position within the district.
And then by applicability, if the position is available at the school when they're ready to come back, we always have discussed they could return, or otherwise they would have a position promised to them in the school district within the mileages and
Mhm.
parameters. of the
And you
contract.
said there was about 15 people?
Yes,
that were-
I think that was right earlier.
Yeah.
with
it's-
Jessica.
yeah,
and
FMLA
everything.
is a
Yeah,
different
about
set of
15.
statutes. So under
Mhm.
the law, we have to pay for benefits if they qualify.
But, and specifically hold their position because the federal leave says that.
Right.
So I have a follow-up question. So let's say I'm on FMLA and I'm not gone for the full 12 weeks. I'm
Mhm.
gone for 8 weeks.
Mhm.
And then a few months down the road, something happens and I have to be out
Yeah.
again.
That's
You'll
it.
get the balance of,
You
the
get-
balance of the time that you're
You
entitled.
get
to.
12 weeks in a rolling calendar year.
It's the rolling calendar period, so it would depend on the balance of the time, we would look at that time period. But it is a rolling calendar, just like Jason said, so it depends on the time period, it's very specific. And we do look at our specific calendar. Okay, with our days, to calculate that.
And it's so out of our 9,000 people that we represent, only about 15 people
Correct.
between the 3 contracts.
It's
Okay.
not a huge exposure, but for that school or that classroom, it makes a big deal. Because I'm in a position where
Mhm.
I can't move forward again.
So,
And there are those people, let's say the 15 or so, that are our I'll say frequent flyers, because we see them connecting them together kind of year after year. And I'm not overstating that, but so.
okay. I think we will need to bring it back just to talk through, with ours. But a possible, I won't say that, a possible proposal we might even do to add this, and just kind of getting your thoughts on this. If the position is still available at their same school, we might be looking at, they shall return to that if that position is still available.
Bring us the proposal and we'll take it back to our team.
Okay,
So,
all right.
and I'm not trying to be evasive.
Yeah.
I don't see like a real, because that's what we're doing by practice now
Yeah,
anyways.
Yeah, that they return.
But much like you.
But
I'd
just
like to
making
have
sure that
some
it's
time with my
codified,
team,
yeah.
After you present the language
Okay.
as well.
Perfect. Okay. So, teacher Article 6 and Para 8, are very connected in, our original proposals. So, and they had 2 things in teacher 6 and Para Article 8, which was the 30-minute, at least 30-minute lunch period, duty-free in each contract. And it also had the TDA days, for teachers, and then our CDAT paras, who are in classrooms as well. The district team had rejected the TDA part of that. And so we have a counter to that we would like to present to you guys. And I'm gonna hand you both because they're in conjunction. So here's the Para 8. And then here's the teacher 3. And so we have stricken through, we've removed the TDA proposal as a team. And we would like to present, now the 30-minute lunch is still in Para 8 and in the teacher 6. The teacher 6 is still open because we have the lunch still on the table. And so what our team went back and kind of talked through what might work here, to get the same amount of time, but also doesn't cost the district any money, would be to rework the school calendars to provide more teacher planning, to provide more teacher self-directed planning. And so expires at the end of this school year that extended the early dismissals to 10. We had 7 and we had the MOU agreement to extend to 10. And so what we've done in teacher Article 3, to get more self-directed planning time back to teachers that doesn't cost the district any money, is rework the staff development days versus the teacher work days. And so in teacher Article 3 of the school calendar, in section 3.3, we are proposing to strike through designated at 6 workdays and add 7 workdays, and strike through 4 staff developments and change it to 3. And then in 3.4, where it discusses early dismissal, codifying the 10 early dismissal days. That would, codify the MOU to move forward. But out of those 10 early dismissal days, we would propose that 8 of those early dismissals would be for teacher self-directed planning. And then 2 of those early dismissals would be for staff development. We did strike through March so that the staff development days could be a little bit more flexible into what the calendar committee designated. So if administration needs it in February instead of March, or April instead of March, that it doesn't have to just stay in March, because it was very explicit and kind of restrictive on the staff development side. We could have one in the first semester, one in the second semester, and that could be talked through with the calendar committee. And for this year, to address the TDA time, for this school calendar, we are proposing to convert the October 18th split day to a full teacher workday. We are proposing to convert the January 7th, 25, right after winter break, to a full teacher workday, which would mean we would have 2 teacher workdays back to back before students return on the 8th after winter break. And we are proposing to convert the May 16th early dismissal staff development to a teacher planning day. Please disregard the question mark. I don't know where that came from. And I mean, let's be honest, staff development's probably not happening in May anyway. And so that would, we feel, address the planning that we were looking for without an additional cost to the district.
Yeah.
And in para 8, in page 3 of 7, we mirrored that for the CDATs, because we want to make sure that our instructional CDATs have this self-directed plan time as well. And this would come at no additional cost, because the days are already built in, we're just rearranging.
We'll take this back for review.
Mhm.
Before we do that, I want to look around. Are there any clarifying questions we want to seek to learn anything about before we go back to review? And down regional. All right. So we'll take this back and we'll save this for our next time if we're together.
All right.
So that was. Now this one.
And our team did want to offer, I know that Joe's team is still looking at lunches and instructional minutes and whatnot. We want to make sure that it's officially on the record, our team is okay with if this starts in the 25-26 school year, knowing that master schedules are set for this year. We really want to make sure, though, that this isn't kicked down the road, that we have this codified for next school year. And we know that philosophically, the district team agrees. I know you guys are working through logistics, but we want to make sure that schools have enough time to work through logistics and that we are okay with being implemented in the 25-26 school year.
Okay. All right, so we're getting down to a place where we're done with our language.
Yeah.
And then we didn't have any more numbers to talk about.
Yep.
As to your remarks at the beginning and the fact that you're rejecting 4% until the AFR returns.
Mhm.
So I don't believe we have any further
Yep.
items to discuss.
Can we look at calendars for after the September 3rd board meeting?
It's extra.
So I know the week of the 9th, my calendar in the evening looks good except for Wednesday, the 11th. So JD, after it's presented at the school board meeting, we would be able to get that pretty quickly. Right?
It's due to the state the following week.
Okay.
So I'm looking at maybe the 19th, September 19th. A month from today.
Okay.
I'm throwing that out there.
We are at BA.
Yes. So maybe could we do maybe the 16th or the 17th? Because I have a state delegate assembly that I have to leave for Wednesday afternoon.
The 17th,
Yeah, the 16th or the 17th.
on the 17th.
I had a scheduling thing with the Roseland.
What were the dates? The 17th and what?
16th.
16th and 17th. That would give us time to get the AFR.
Okay.
So can we put a block on both of those days?
It
And
would be
then,
a either or, not both, correct?
yeah, I think
Mhm.
I just like to hold both just in case.
All right, so we're saying 9/16 or 9/17 will be the next time we would
Yes.
propose to come together.
Because that'll give us the AFR and we'll have a little bit of time to look at that and counter.
Okay.
Because that's really, for the most part, the big thing that's left.
Yeah, and then a couple of language pieces hanging out.
Yep. All right,
So what we will do is confirm location and a date.
okay,
So if it's in order, I think one of the main pieces for me will be through making sure I can get in here on one of those 2 dates. And then when I know that, we'll send it out. We'll
Okay.
let everybody know and then we'll go from there.
and this time worked out really well because we were able to minimize school impact for pulling people out, so that worked out really nicely.
Good, good. All right.
All right.
Break, are we meeting on the 30th for?
No.
We were talking
Job
about
description.
school job description review, but that wouldn't
We can
be
do
the big
that.
teams.
I actually don't mind,
Yeah.
nothing bargaining wise.
No, it wouldn't be the big teams.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
So let's talk that through.
Okay.
Who needs to be there when we meet?
We have, with the job descriptions that we're talking about, we would like to bring in people that actually are in those positions. But it would probably be Kat and myself. And maybe those people that were working through job descriptions, and then probably
I'll
you
bring
and
somebody
Jessica,
Yeah.
and then
We can do
maybe
that
Curtis.
at PEA.
Yeah, and you guys can come to our
The
office.
30th. I thought we said we were gonna do that earlier in the day.
Yeah.
At noon.
Yeah, I was thinking noon.
Yep.
Is,
And if
is
those
noon
job
work?
descriptions come back when we're done with everything.
Yeah, we
this
would,
year-
we would wrap it in because we have to clean up with our perk unit clarifications. We have to clean up some of the appendix A's anyway. So we could bring that all together toward the end.
So that's still a hard date. And what I'm gonna do is, let's delegate. We need to get a date out, ladies or somebody, so we don't, can you put a date out for the 30th? But I don't know who all's on.
Just send it to Kat and myself, and then we'll send it out to our
Put a
folks.
holder for me and Jessica and Dr. Williams, Mr. Pitts.
And I'll let, oh, sorry, I'll get it.
Yeah.
And I will, I'll send you names because those folks will be working, so we'll need to TDA those couple people, but I'll give you names once
And
I have a
this-
finalized
This
list.
should not be as large a group for TDAs as we have.
No, it'll probably be
Targeted one or two.
4,
single ins here or
total,
there.
because
Yeah.
we're looking at 4 or 5 job descriptions.
All right.
So it'll be a small group.
Okay. We're done
All
with
right.
4 or 5.
Yay.
All right,
All right.
we're gonna come offline.
Yep.
So our bargaining for this session is concluded.
All
We'll
right.
see everybody either the 16th or the 17th.
Yep. Sounds great.
September.